Okay guys, I'm going to show you how to make a ship skin in World of Warships for a ship, and I'm not going to concentrate too much on the artistry side. I just want to walk you through the process so you're able to play with this and come up with something that you might like on your ship. What I want to do is I want to turn the Iowa into the Missouri, and the way we do that is we're going to let's see, I want to actually show you how to go in here and get to this. You go into your C file, you go into Games, World of Warships, the Res folder, Content, Gameplay. Then you pick which country you want, which we're going to go into USA, and then we're going to go into Ship. We're going to go into Battleship, and you notice they have the names of all the battleships here. Now the Iowa has a 1944 configuration, and it also says 1944 and 1943 and 1945. We're interested in 1943 version because I don't have the actually don't have the Iowa yet, but you can actually make a skin for a ship you don't have yet, but you can't make it. You could make one for the Iowa 44 or the Iowa 45. The problem would be is that you won't be able to see it until you actually have the ship. But the 1943, they do view into the port when you can view it even if you don't own the ship, so we can still make a skin for this one and actually see it. Okay, the folder all the way at the bottom here that says textures, this is the folder that you're going to need to go into. If you go into, let's click into Iowa 43, you see all of these files. These are all your files that tell your ship what to look like and what to look like when it's damaged and so on and so forth. And World of War War Thunder, these are pretty important because you have to actually do the damage files and stuff for the airplane. But in this game, the damage just goes on top, kind of a thing. So that's kind of neat. You don't have to sit there and make the files and the damage files and so on and so forth. Now this texture file, it has all the UV maps and the normal maps and the color backup maps and the bitmap, all this stuff for these ships. And if you're really going into some advanced stuff, like if you wanted to try to make your ship chrome, you would have to actually use probably at least two of these files. You'd have to use probably like this orange file, and you might even have to do something with this normal map. But what we're worried about just for making a skin is we're going to come down. We want to find Iowa. There's Iowa 44. We don't want Iowa 44. Iowa 45. We want Iowa 43, which is Iowa 44 again. No, Montana. They're not in alphabetical order, as you can see, so we need to Arkansas, New York, Colorado, Iowa 44, Iowa 45, Iowa 43. Here we go. And this is what you want to see. This is just your UV map unwrapped. That's just your normal. This is your what paints the ship and stuff, and then your other maps give you your glossiness or your dullness or your, like I said, kind of your special effects. So this is what we're looking for right here. This is just the normal UV map, and I want to copy it, and then I'm going to just minimize that so I don't have to open it all the way back up. Now I have a couple of files here. I have what's called Iowa Original, where I actually saved, I'll open this up, I actually saved this Iowa 1943, And I got a 44 in here, which I don't need to really have at the moment, but I saved your original file in case you actually want to put that back, because you're going to replace that file in the game files once you make your skin. So if you ever want to go back to default, you want to have a copy of this. Now I got another file here that says Iowa BB, and it's empty, and this is the one we're going to paste. And this is because we're going to take this picture and we're going to make the skin with this UV map right here is what we're going to use to make the skin. Okay, I can minimize that. Actually, I could actually close it. Okay, now I'm like freeware. Some of y'all probably like Photoshop. Some of you might use Gimp. Some of you might have heard of this PaintNet and actually use it. You could actually use a PaintNet. I don't use it other than just for conversion purposes, but it's about the same thing as Gimp. I could actually learn to use it. I'm just more versed in Gimp. But the first thing before I use Gimp, I'm going to use this DDS converter. And there is plugins that you can get for Gimp to where you can just do the whole thing in Gimp and you wouldn't have to use 3 different programs. It's not really that hard. So if you download, if nothing else, and you don't know what you're doing and you absolutely have kind of like no idea and you're just following me along on YouTube, then you might want to get DDS converter and paint.net, and you have to be careful on paint.net when you try to download it, because they try to get you to download all kinds of extra BS, so you really got to pay attention to it and just download paint.net. Don't download their little extra stuff that they're trying to get you to do. Okay, we're going to add an image, and it actually opened up into the Iowa folder because I was already messing with it. If not, you would have to tell it to go to the desktop in the Iowa BB folder. So again, this is a DDS file and we want to convert it to a JPEG file, so we're going to double click that. And if you notice, it's in here and it says DDS. You come to the bottom, it gives you some different options. You want to pick JPG, JPEG, click convert. It'll say, it says, do you sure to convert? Which I guess is French and English, I don't know, but you click OK. It says image conversion completed. Click OK. You can shut that off. Come to this folder. Now if you notice in this folder there's 2 of these same pictures, but this one is the one we brought in. And this is our JPEG file that it just made, and this is our DDS image. So now we have a JPEG file of this. Shut this back down. Go into Gimp, or like I said, or Photoshop, or PaintNet, or whatever image manipulation program you have. That's what they call this Gimp. It means GNU image manipulation program, but it's just a free copy of Photoshop basically, but it's a little bit different than Photoshop, but it does the same thing. Okay, file, open, and I'm going to have to tell it to go to desktop, Iowa, and now there's a DDS file in there and the JPEG file, but since my Gimp isn't set up for DDS at all, it's only showing me the Iowa 1943 JPG, and that's what we want in Gimp. And as if you notice, it's in there, it just popped in. Okay, now to make this video short and not way complicated on the artistry side of this, because I'm not trying to teach you how to use Gimp, I'm just trying to show you how to convert the pictures and convert them back and put them back in the game so that it changes the image of the ship. So I'm going to zoom in on this, and people that have already done this kind of process with airplanes could probably recognize this a little bit. It might look a little bit more foreign to you if you don't know anything about it. This is a UV map. This is like they took the ship and peeled it open like a can, and if you think of it that way. And this is the 2 halves. They cut that top in half. That's actually, you can actually see the upper deck of the Iowa there, and the stern half of the deck or parts. And if you pay a little bit of attention here, you can actually see that this is the front of the ship, and it's kind of ironic because this is the starboard side and this is the port side. We're going to zoom in a little bit more. because this is where I'm going to be making a simple test for the UV map. And maybe you can see it a little bit better. It's kind of hard to see because it's all gray, but this is actually the bow of the ship and the bow of the ship on the other side, and they got them butted together top to bottom. So I'm going to add a layer, which is just going to allow me to draw on top of this without actually drawing on the picture. And then if I like what I see, I can merge it down to the picture. But until I merge it down, it's literally something. Think of it as something like you're painting a piece of glass over the top of this. And so it's not actually on the hull. So now we want to take. I'm going to take this text letter thing, and we're going to put. Like I said, I don't want you to get real carried away with the artistry of this, because you either know what you're doing with this or you're not. I'm not trying to teach you Gimp. I'm just trying to teach you how to make, not really how to make the skin, how to put it in the game and stuff. Okay, so I'm using the text selector, and we're going to click it right there, and we're going to type a 6 and a 3. And that doesn't really look like the ones on the Missouri there, but I can actually set up here. That's the size. We wanted it 50 text. Oh, here we go. Because what I'm saying is you can actually switch this. Yeah, it looks a little bit more interesting. Well, not to make this last too long, we'll just go with that for now, even though that doesn't look exactly like the 63 that's on the ship. Okay, so now if we take our movement tool here, and I can grab the, oops, I don't want to grab that. I want to actually grab. Oh, I made a new layer anyway. I guess I didn't have to do an actual layer, so I can get rid of that layer, delete layer, but I want to move my letters here because I don't want to grab the letters. Of course, this has happened to me while I'm okay. Oh, that's what you actually have to grab the image, the actual color of the image. So let's put that right there. Let's put that 63 right there by the anchor. And then let's duplicate it. And then let's grab it again. Bring it down here. There's actually ways you can totally align it, which I'm not going to worry too much about now. But we're going to turn it 180, rotate it, and we're just going to take kind of a close guess. We're going to put it kind of on the same seam lines that it is down there, and we're going to say that looks pretty good, I think. So we're going to merge that one down. We're going to merge that one down. Now, those are actually on this picture. Those 63s are. Okay, now I think, I'm not positive, but I think if we go over here to this deck area, where's this front deck area? We missed it. Where is it at? I need to zoom out so I can find it right quick. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Ugh. And my picture's misaligned, which I need to realign it, because if you don't have it aligned and you put it back in the file, it'll, trust me, it'll mess your day up. The ships will have the lines in the wrong places. Okay, now let's rotate this whole picture 180. And the reason I'm doing that is because I believe, whoopsie, I need to zoom in, not zoom out. You see, that's pretty cool. This is how you get your detail on your deck. They actually have the picture, in a sense, a picture or like a graphic drawing of the actual deck of the Iowa. You can actually see the wood planks and stuff. And that's how the UV map it. Now, something ain't right here. Let's see if we can move this a little bit more. I wish I wouldn't have moved that picture. Okay, what I was getting back at again is, sorry about being long-winded, I believe this piece right here is the fantail. I'm not positive, but I think this is the fantail. If it's not, it's going to look real funny after we do this. But we're going to find out. I want to reduce my size to about 25 on these letters. Let's try 26. That looks good. And then I'm going to put a box here, and then I'm going to type. I put it in caps. I'm going to go. Whoops, that's way too big. Still way too big. Let's go about 9. Backspace. Oops, can't do that. Oh, that's right. I can reduce it here. That's fine. Let's go. Yeah, let's go with 12. Okay. That's what I thought. Delete. There we go. That's how we do it. Let's type Missouri. And I'm happy with that. And so we go to select none. Oops, can't do that. Interesting. Let's see if we can move it. Let's put it right about there. I really don't want it. I don't know what this stuff is. It looks like pipes or whatever or whatnot, but we're going to see. Because like I said, I think this is the fantail. Sometimes how you can do things on these skins, because, whoops, we need to merge down. That way it's actually on the object now. It's a little bit offset. I don't really have it totally centered, but for GP, and again we got our picture misaligned here. So I need to align it, because otherwise it makes, if you put a misaligned picture on the back end of the file, it actually will mess the lines up on the model. Zoom back in. I think we're good. I don't see no. Oops, there's a little bit at the bottom there, so I need to. Actually move this just a hair right there. Okay. Zoom it back out. And as you learn how to do some of this stuff, if you're not used to doing this stuff, you'll run into these little things quite a bit, and then you won't be able to figure out. You'll be like, why is this giving me this fits and stuff like that? Alrighty, I need to move this over just a hair so that I actually get my file. There we go. Could actually go there. That's not a problem, but I need my file. We need to save it as, and it's going to save it back in your same folder as a JPG. I have to type JPG because it wants to save mine as XCF images for some reason. I need to figure out how to select that in my Gimp. Here, go save. It's going to say you can't do that. Can't be used. So take me to the export dialog box. Okay, so now it shows that there's that file in there, and I'm trying to save it in there. And in Gimp, it's called export. Click export. It says, hey, there's already a file in there that says that. Do you want to replace it? Yes, I do, because we've changed it. So we're going to replace it. And then you click export one more time. You end up clicking export a lot in Gimp. Okay, now this picture with our numbers and our little thing down here says Missouri on the tail. Oh, I'm almost messed up. Actually, I need to rotate this picture back. We're talking, otherwise the whole thing will be totally upside down. Rotate. This is what it should look like. Your little Missouri thing should be upside down in here, and then your numbers are on your whole here. Okay, so now we're going to save it again. Desktop. Iowa. JPG. Save. Yes, replace it. Export. Otherwise, it would have been upside down, which you could actually turn it right side up in the actual folder and do with your photo viewer and stuff like that. But I just want it to be saved right. So now we go back in here, and again, you have this JPEG and you have this DDS. The DDS is actually the original. It doesn't have anything written on it, so you could always have your original saved here too to put back in your file. This is our changed JPG. You can see the 63s on there and the Missouri if you look real close. Okay, so the problem is now that we need to turn that JPEG back into a DDS, and your DDS converter actually won't do that, I don't think. So we'll go into PaintNet, which is like Gimp. Like I said, I could actually use it to make skins, and it's freeware. So if you haven't used any of these programs, you might just get DDS converter and PaintNet, and you can use your PaintNet. You can watch YouTube videos, learn how to use your PaintNet to manipulate pictures. I do think this is more of an artist program, though. I think Gimp's probably better for pictures, but you could manipulate your pictures in here too. Okay, so we want to open, and I had already done this a little earlier and it didn't work quite right because it was on the wrong file, but I want to load up this JPEG image in here that we just did in Gimp, and there's our 63s and our little Missouri. So, and then we'll go File, and we're going to go Save As. Now, this gives you the option. If you notice down here, it's saying, since it's already a JPEG, it's saying, hey, save this as a JPG. But we're going to click on this, and we'll have 8 different selections, and we're going to go to Direct Draw Surface, which is your DDS. Click on that, and we're going to say save it as that. And it says, well, hey, you already got one in here that says DDS already exists, which is actually when I was telling you could use the original, which I guess you couldn't because we're going to overwrite that. So it is good to have another file with that original in it, which I do. So I'm going to say yes, I do want to replace that. So it's saving it, and it's saving it as a DDS, so it's reconverting it. And if you notice, it made it real big because it put it into 8 megabytes. And I'm going to click OK. And I think that's one of the reasons they use DDS files in there too, is that DDS is a lot bigger and brighter and sharper, has a lot more information than a JPEG does. Okay, so now, and if you're not sure, if you're working along with stuff, you don't always have to shut this stuff. You can just minimize it instead, and then you don't have to sit there and reopen it. If you're doing a lot of stuff or doing a lot of changes, or you want to draw a few things, look on the ship, go back, draw a few more things. So now we open this file. If you notice, we still have this JPEG image, and it's the one that we painted on. And we also have this one that's the DDS, and it's changed. It's got the Missouri on it, it's got the numbers on it. Okay. Close that down, and then if I go into Iowa Original, I have the actual original Iowa 43 file. It doesn't have anything on it. So if I want to change the ship back to the original state, I wouldn't have to reload the whole game to do it. I can just put that file right back over that other one. Okay, so we go back in here to textures. Whoops. Need to go back in here. We want our DDS file that we made. Come on, show me. It says DDS. It says JPEG. It says DDS. We want to copy this. Copy. Now we can close it down. We're going to go back into our game files. I don't know if you remember all the steps. You can look at the beginning of the video. But you come down in here. Now watch. I go to paste this. It's going to scream. It's going to say, "Hey, you already got one in here," because the one we took out is still in here. We just copied it. We didn't actually move it out of here. It says replace it, and we're going to say yes. We're going to replace it. But by replacing it, what we just did, now if you look at this game file of the Iowa 1943, we blow it up, it's the one that we made. We just overwrote the original one. That's why it's good to save the original one if you ever want to put it back original. Now I should be able to shut this down, go into the game, push play. Don't bust my chops, I don't actually have this ship, because there's 3 different mod versions of this Iowa, and I think they only use 2 so far, but they have 3 different mods in here for now. And here's my Warspite that I actually tried to make look like the Bismarck. I used similar pattern to the Bismarck camouflage. I put a swastika on the deck, even though there's a water break through the middle of it, so it doesn't look all that great. It's got, I wish they had an area of open deck on the Warspite, which they don't. I made the airplane. I actually textured the airplane to look like a German airplane. I hope the swastika doesn't offend anybody. It's a World War II thing. I got one on the fantail, but if you notice, the flag is British. And I'd actually changed the flags in the textures from the British flag to the Nazi war flag. But there's a mod or something in here. I don't know exactly where it's at, so I'm still flying this British flag. It's kind of irritating. Alright, let's go to the tech tree. Let's go to United States. Let's go down the battleship tree, and let's go into Iowas. And your first configuration of the Iowa is the 1943. We should have the Missouri numbers on here. And there she is. Whoops. Wait a minute. Dang it. Go back into the Iowa. Say it, not research, so I don't have it. But if you notice, has a 63 on both sides that we drew on there. And if you come to the back, let's hopefully, and let's see, does it say Missouri or not? And it does not. So that little piece that I was drawing on is not the fantail. So I have to figure out, if I want to make it say Missouri in this area right here, what part of the ship that was, because I put Missouri on something, but it's not on the fantail. So it's somewhere on this ship. It might be this little piece right here up front there. I can't tell. If I had the ship, I could actually go in the game. I'm not going to spend a long time looking for it. It's kind of funny to me. I drew it on something. Might have drew it on the back of the smokestack or the front of the smokestack or something. So I don't see where it says Missouri, but it's on there somewhere, trust me. Because they just don't have UV maps of nothing for no reason. Is it on the conning tower, maybe? Oh yeah, there it is right there. So the little piece I drew on, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm putting my pointer to it. And I'll bet it's upside down. Right under the rangefinder. It says, I can see the white letters. where it says Missouri, right there. And it's so small you can't see it, but if you actually had the ship and you could go in game with it, you could probably see it. And like I said, it probably says Missouri upside down. So, about all I would need to do is figure out where the actual this piece of the ship is on the tail. Now, what might be a pain in the butt is if they actually took the whole side, if they split the seam on the UV map right down the center of it, you'd have to write MIS and then have the other S or half of the S there on the split, and then so I need to find a place. The fantail, it has two different colors and it has the ladder going up and down it. But as you see, the biggest part of this was just basically the converting the files one way and then doing your painting on them and then converting them a different way. And if you wanted this 63 to really look like the 63, you'd need to research that, and you would have to either get a picture of it to put on here, or you'd actually have to artistically draw it, so on and so forth. Now on your turrets, there's 3 turrets here. On your UV map, they actually only have 1 turret on your UV map. So the problem is, if you want your 63, like they had a 63 on this front turret, if you draw a 63 on your turret on your UV map, you're going to get a 63 on top of all 3 of these turrets, because they don't have separate UV files for them. They actually have them what's called overlapped. So I'm going to sign out for now because I've been long-winded enough. You get the idea, I hope. If you have any questions, please comment in my comment sections, and if you like my long-winded tutorial, please subscribe. Peace out.